Hey guys, Evan Ork here, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Bandai GMK Mothra figure. Now once again, this is yet another figure that I got for my birthday. I have one other figure after this I can review, at least from my birthday haul, and maybe there's some figures after that I can review. I don't want to say after that there's going to not be any reviews for a while, because the last time I did that I kept coming out with reviews saying, sorry guys, I forgot to review this. I guess I was wrong the last review when I said no more figures to review, so I'm just going to go out there and say there's a possibility that I'm going to have other figures to review after my birthday haul figures, because I really don't know. I always forget things, so we'll see how this works out. But now we're going to be doing a review on the GMK Bandai Mothra figure. Now, this is yet another GMK Mothra figure I got in recent months, I should say, actually not days, because the figure I got before this was the GMK Godzilla Bandai figure. I think it was the reissued version, not the original version that's quite big. And I got that for Christmas. So I've been getting a lot of GMK Bandai figures recently because I realized I don't really have much GMK merchandise as far as the Bandai line goes. And, you know, I don't have the King Ghidorah because that's very expensive. The Baragon I got also for Christmas. So I pretty much have a lot of the GMK Bandai merchandise because I don't know why. I just wanted to collect it in recent days. So here we have the GMK Bandai Mothra. And let's start out with the first thing I like about this figure right off the bat. The first thing I like about this figure, and if I'm going to be completely honest, is the paint job. Now, the paint job on this figure is phenomenal. The colors, even though you could say that most of it makes up white or whatever, it still is phenomenal. I mean, you have a whole bunch of booming colors. And besides, the white only makes up the outlines of the wings and a little bit of the main body. And this is a big figure, I have to say. I'm going to get into that soon, but either way. So here's the deal with this figure. The booming colors, I think you can already guess. When it comes to the wings, you can see the booming colors with this red. I like how this orange shades into this red. They also did really good shading jobs. I mean, look at this. They did shading on the brown here. It was all white here, and then they slowly shaded it brown at the very edge of the wing going into the body. So that was really good shading. They also did that with the other side, of course, or else it wouldn't look natural. But you have the booming orange color right here, you know, on the top of the body. The purple eyes are really booming. I really like those purple eyes. They really stand out. I mean, the colors, I think the thing is that there aren't any paint scuffs, by the way, at least not that I can see as of now. But the biggest reason why the paint job is so good on this figure is because it stands out. They're booming good colors with yellow, purple, orange, red, I guess black here under the bottom of the bottom part of the body near the stinger. I don't think moths have stings, but I think you get what I mean. And yeah, so that's my favorite part I like about this figure. So let's move on to the next thing I like about this figure. So the next thing I like about this figure is the detail. Now, the detail on this figure is very close to being average, but I'll say it's slightly above average because there are some really good detailed areas that I think are more standout than average, such as I like how they did the little lines here, the lines for the wings. It's kind of like a big bumpy thing here. You can see how it's like scuffed off at the top there. They also did good lines with the wings here, because this is like more of a line curve that they did so that it's noticeable. But with the wings, you can actually feel and look at the lines. I guess the veins or whatever that make up the wing. You can see those lines right here. They really go across the entire wing. You have the lines here, but this time going in the opposite direction. These curves, these creases. There's one way to tell if a figure has good detail. It's the creases in the skin, to make it look like it's realistic skin, so it's accurate to the original design. And that's what this figure did quite well. That's why it's slightly above average. But you have these creases here with the wings, makes it look more natural. You also have these linear curves here, right here, this purplish, darkish area. The beak isn't really... The facial detail is... I was going to say that it is actually average, but now thinking about it, it isn't, You have the creases in the skin here, which is really nice. You have the little circles that make up the eyes, which are really specific and really detailed. You have these lines, little bits of lines here on the antennas. The beak, you can see like the little edges of the beaks, because, it's kind of edged, the sharp things of insect beaks and all that. And again, really nice detail on this figure. With the feet and all that, the legs or feet, legs and claws, I should say, not feet. This isn't like that. I'm not trying to make Mothra sound innocent. You have these lines here, these lines, and also these claws. So I'd really like to say that the detail on this figure is really, really nice. So let's move on to the next thing I like about this figure. Now, the next thing I like about this figure is the articulation. Now, the articulation on this figure, I have to say, is so average. It's not too great and it's not too bad. because, and I'll explain why, there is technically 5 joints of articulation. And I've always said this, when it comes to like Spark Dolls, the average articulation joints are like 3. On Bandai's, an average amount should be like 5. And this has, from what I can see, 5. You have the 2 legs here, right here. I don't think they go rotate 360, but you have the 2 legs here. You also have, not to mention, the head. And then, if you count the wings, because it's not a glue seal, I mean, these things can move, right here. Of course, they can't go 360. I mean, that wouldn't even look natural, so it's not like I would have wanted that. But if you count the wings, that's 5 articulation joints. But 100% sure there are 3 articulated joints. But if you count the wings, I'm going to do that because I'm going to be nice here. There's 5 articulated joints. So, yeah, that's articulation with this figure. So, let's move on to the cons of this figure. Now, when it comes to the cons of this figure, I really only have 2 or 3 complaints. Most of them are pretty big complaints, but I'm going to really get into them either way. So, the first big con I have to say, and I don't know if you recall me saying this at the beginning, you might have, might not have, I don't know, was the fact that the figure is quite big. This is actually a quite big Mothra figure, and when it comes to Mothra Bandai's, they're usually not big because Mothra, because of its winged, how it's, it's a winged creature, not winged kaiju and all that, it is typically not really so big because, the idea is that small, fierce kaiju, though. And this is quite big. I feel like it's just a little bit too big. And even though it's a little bit too big, I think in general it is, too... it depends on how you feel like the size should be, but I do feel like the size is just too big for this figure. Mothra isn't typically known for being quite big, unless you're at, you ordered a life-size figure that's different, but this isn't, of course, that. And, compared to the other GMK figures, which I'm going to do in a second, are really... it's really quite big, if I'm going to be honest with you. So that's my big con with it. The 2 nitpicks I have to follow with it are, 1, I mentioned this earlier that the legs can't go 360. I wouldn't say this is an issue when it comes to articulation, but, I wish it would go 360, and you can't because these 2 legs are edged so that it can't cross it, which is kind of annoying. The other small nitpick I have, the final issue, is that I wish these 2 legs were separate. I mean, if they made these 2 legs, and besides, these 2 legs can't even move, but if they made these 2 legs separate and movable as a joint, then that would have been, if I'm doing my math correctly, like, I don't know, 9 articulated joints, and that means I would have given the articulation easily above average. It might have been my favorite pro with this figure, but that's not what they did, and that's kind of disappointing. Instead, it's kind of like glued together, sealed together, and you can't even move it. So that's like a double annoying feature to it. So you can't even move it, but it's sealed together, these 2 legs, and you can't even move them. Would have been great if they weren't sealed, and if each and every one of these 4 legs, 1, 2, 3, 4, because these 2 already move, would have been movable and would have had articulated joints, but they don't, and that's what, that's another nitpick I have. Again, the reason why that's not a big problem is because since I said the articulation was average, it's not like it was below average, and this would have been a better addition to have more articulated joints. If that was the case, then this would have been a full-on con, but it isn't. So, yeah, so let's get on to the comparisons of this figure. Now, I don't do comparisons every single review, I only do it when I need to do them, so here's the deal. So this is the Mothra figure, and this is, by the way, going back, if you can remember, to my con saying it's too big. You guys be the judge. Tell me if I'm right or wrong in the comment section below, but you have this Mothra figure. Let's do Godzilla first. This is him compared to... Again, I haven't seen GMK in a while, so maybe if I rewatch it and see that Mothra is supposed to be bigger, then maybe I was wrong. Yeah, of course I was wrong, but I don't know if she's not, and I'm pretty sure she's not, because Mothra isn't typically known to be a ginormous kaiju like King Ghidorah or Biollante or something, so this is, I guess, standing down, like her sitting is accurate, size-wise, but her flying, which is what she usually does, I mean, she's a flying kaiju, not a walking kaiju, this looks just a little too big for me. I don't know, it looks too big, but this is compared to Mothra, Godzilla, excuse me, and this is compared to Baragon, GMK Baragon. I would get the Bandai Creations King Ghidorah figure, but that figure really is not really, good in terms of its size. It's all off with that figure, and it's Bandai Creations, so that explains everything. So I'm not going to compare it to that. But anyways, going back to Baragon, here we are. This looks a little bit more size accurate, but Godzilla's the main kaiju here, so you want to focus on that when it comes to kaiju size than you want to do anything else. But anyways, here compared to Baragon, so they both hunch over, so they're roughly the same size when they stand. Flying, there we go. Hope you guys get the different angles here to give you guys the right idea as to the size. But anyways, I'm going to be rating this figure a 8 out of 10. I would recommend getting it because it is 8 out of 10 is a great rate actually. I usually give 9 out of 10s and all that, but 8 out of 10 is still a good rate. So I do recommend getting this figure especially if you want to do GMK Bandai collection like I did, collecting like I did. But without further ado, guys, I would recommend this figure. I hope you enjoy this review. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later. Bye-bye.